Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast with all the stuff we did not get to during the course of the show today. And that's going to do it for your Aftercast. Thanks for being a potty.
Bye.
That is how Betty would like this thing to go today.
Bye.
If we didn't have a meeting.
She walked in today.
I know. If we didn't have a meeting in between the Aftercast and what we have planned, that is what we would be doing. We would have already been done. But we've got to be here for the meeting, so we are going to do a full Aftercast. Right, Rock?
Yeah.
You're committed?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I gave my warning. I said once we're done with our meeting, I'm ready to go.
Because what we're doing today is we're doing a show lunch. We've kind of decided to once a month go to a movie as a show and go to a show outing and then like do lunch together. And I think that's important because sometimes you get so busy with all the work of things and you don't get to enjoy the fun of things and just kind of cutting loose and having fun together. Like the last time we went to, we were trying to okay, we're not going to talk about a lot of work stuff. And the last time we really didn't. We did a really good job at not talking about work stuff. I was really surprised because I'm like, what else am I going to talk about? You know?
What else does it do?
And I want to keep that.
Yeah, I get that. I understand
Do we
protecting
have a jar? It's like not a swear jar, but
That's a
work,
great idea.
A work.
Yes.
Yes. A dollar is too much for me.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
So
It's not for Wally, though, and you know he'll be the culprit.
Yeah, you guys will make a lot of money off this.
I got quarters in my car.
Man, we had a swear jar at one of the radio stations I was
here?
at. No. When I worked in mainstream radio, we had a swear jar. And because we were when we were working at Radio Disney, I mean, you couldn't, here, you couldn't swear and make a mistake. You couldn't make a mistake, but we would do it to be funny off air. And it got up to $900.
Between how many people?
3. And we went to Vegas.
Oh my goodness.
I respect that.
Yeah, it was. I don't think people understand working in mainstream radio.
Dang.
The language that is there,
Probably nasty.
it is bad. It's like a friend of mine worked at a car plant, and he was like, "Oh, the language on the line is so bad." I'm like, in the content that we would talk about. It's all HR violations, especially here, but anywhere else. I mean, in a normal company, you couldn't do any of the things that we did or talked about in radio, but it was just always that way, you know?
Do you think that that's true about the broadness of non-Christian radio? Like if I went to a country radio station.
Well, yeah, Betty Rock worked at a country station
is it
for a
kind
little
of
bit.
like that? Like not, necessarily vulgar, but just no.
Was there language and stuff there?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I had come from a small private school, and so to go from that to
I'm
this
sure it was
situation, it was
shocking.
like, oh my gosh.
You're like, my people.
Right, yeah. Yes, there was definitely a lot of language. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would and my tongue got out of hand too. I mean, so yeah, I know. So it wasn't just them; it was me.
Based on where you're at, it is tough because your ecosystem that you're in does impact you.
Oh, 100%.
And you impact it. It's a cycle.
Like I had a friend of mine though that a guy I worked with, and I respected him as a talent. He was great. But he had no filter on his mouth. And so one time, one of the other people we worked with, their mom was there visiting the show. And he's just still dropping the F-bomb every other word.
Gosh.
And just didn't think about it. And I kind of was like, dude, his mom's here. He's like, it's just words. What does it matter? It's just words. I'm like, it's just respect, you know? And we never saw eye to eye on that. So I at least would try to curtail mine. But then when I started getting out of that and trying to go to Christian radio and stuff like that, oh my gosh, it was I had some work to do on the inside.
It feels like a tightrope. Especially with how much you talk.
Yeah.
Especially when you showed up here still having some
edges.
The edges, which you still have, but you're a practiced and chiseled. No, that's not the right word.
I'm chiseled. Thank you.
No, but the work 17 years of kind of getting that to go away.
Yeah, you always fear because something
oh yeah,
the Bible talks about what's inside of you will come out. You know, basically just know that. And so I mean, you have to really make sure that you've changed from the inside out because you could be on the air and something scares you, and if you swear by default in your personal life or alone, it could come out on the air, you know? And so that's why you have to completely strip it out.
What is if something happened tomorrow and Betty punched me in the face?
Yeah.
Don't. And I threw a 4-letter word out there.
Yeah.
What actually happens? Like, do you have a
here?
Yeah, like what do you think actually happens here?
That's a good question. Context?
Won't
I mean,
happen, but
like literally getting assaulted, you could make a case for that. But like, let's say you stub your toe. No, that would be really bad for you. That'd be really bad for you.
I would think so.
Maybe depending on the severity of it, but like you drop an F-bomb, you're gone.
Yeah,
like
I would think so.
that's FCC. Like that's FCC problems, not even just ministry problems. And so yeah, you can't. That's why, like in radio, you tried to learn how to creatively swear, like back in the day, where you could.
You're giving some bad advice.
No. I'm saying using alternate words that you would use as emphasis.
Once again, and I reiterate, you shouldn't say that.
We use all kind of exclamations that are,
I mean,
dadgummit.
Dadgummit is literally like about as close as you can get to.
Or my mom would say fiddlesticks. Like you're finding other words to express the angst that you're going through, and so we would find creative things like that. Like I used to go fiddlesticks, and I'm sorry for my language, guys. Which was funny at a rock station. So you had to find creative ways to express your frustration at something. But that's why that's what makes Nate Bargatze so good at what he does. He works so clean, no language. There are a lot of guys that could tell his same jokes, but they would pepper in language, and you don't need it. My dad always told me, he was like, swearing means you're lazy. Like anyone can swear. Kids do it all the time. Like kids are like, they want to try and act like adults, like when they're teenagers, and you'll hear them at the mall just ripping a bunch of swears, and girls and stuff too, because they're all trying to be, I'm adults. I can control myself, my language. I can do whatever I want. But like my dad used to always say, find another word because it just shows you're ignorant and you're lazy with your language. You don't sound
intelligent.
Exactly. And he's right. When you hear somebody go off on a swearing tirade, you're like, oh, gee whiz, what in the world's wrong with that dude? Like, and you're like, couldn't you come up with anything else? And so that was something that always kind of landed.
And for Nate too, he doesn't use language, and he doesn't tell vulgar stories either. You have so many comedians. Maybe it's not vulgarity, but it's like a nasty story that they're telling.
He was interesting watching him change because he had done a bunch of clean comedy, but then he had a couple ones like early on where he had like these drinking stories, like I like to go out and drink and stuff. And so he would tell these, and they were well told, they were funny, but then I think he learned that the other comedy landed so much better, and maybe an extension to his face because he is a believer. And so maybe he was like, as he's coming up through the comedy ranks, shelving some of that stuff, to go, I don't need to crutch on that. I can do this and be great. And he is absolutely great. Did you guys, we have to talk about this. Have you seen the video of the girls running track? It's a relay race, the baton. Oh my God. And the other girl hits the girl in the back of the head with the baton.
What in the world?
Okay, so you've seen that. So the girl that gets hit in the back of the head is on Good Morning America yesterday or 2 days ago. I got hit in the head. I got a concussion. And she's like, I don't know what happened, why this happened, blah, blah, blah. And so you're like, yeah, that's wrong. And she's like, it took days for like the coach to call and apologize and, things like that. And so now Good Morning America had the girl that hit her on because she's like, I didn't do it on purpose. It's not in my character. Did you see it? I
saw this. She said that the baton got stuck on the girl that so this girl is behind the person that's winning, okay? They both are carrying a baton. The one behind says that her baton got stuck in the girl in front of her's jersey somehow and then rolled up her back, okay? And then she was trying to grab it, lost her balance, and she ended up hitting this girl over the head. Now, I rewatched the video. There is no way. There is no way that is the reality. At some point, just admit it. Say that you did something wrong and apologize for it.
I watched every angle that is out there on this to see to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Nope.
There is no way. She cold cocks this girl with this baton because the girl was beating her or was in like running against her, they were close in their lanes, kind of bouncing off of each other. But yeah, she's like, I lost my balance in my arm. What she did was I watched her clock the girl. I think she in that moment realized, I messed up. Now I'm going to do my arm like I'm out of balance so that I can, because your brain will come up with stuff fast. And so like she's like giving herself her own alibi.
You can see her arm like flailing a bit afterwards.
And so she knows I'm going to have to address this. And so then she's on Good Morning America with her dad and probably a coach, and they're supporting this. Those two men, as men, should have been like, absolutely not. I'm not going on this show with you. You're not going to say this was an accident. You're not going to cry. You're going to own this. You are going to take responsibility for this. You're going to get suspended from the team or whatever it is. You're going to own this. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this is going to make you a better person. My job as a coach is to make you a better human being, not a faster runner, you know? And they didn't do that. And they all bought the lie. You could see this girl, she's crying. She's like, I'm getting death threats. They're calling me ghetto, and you're like, you're sorry you got caught. But then as I watched it though, as somebody who has convinced themselves that a lie is true, I understand the ability to do that. She believes in her heart now that it was an accident. Like she has told that to herself and to everyone else in her circle so many times, and they're all just lockstepping with it. I truly believe she believes that lie, because it's possible, man. You can tell a lie so many times and so convincingly that you start to believe it.
But there is no way that it was anything close to what she says happened.
It's like I feel like I can respect someone so much. Like if you make a mistake, we're all going to look at that and say terrible.
Yeah.
Why'd you do it? If you get up there and you're like, man, that spur of the moment, I lost it, did the wrong thing. Like you can move on so quickly from that. Well, not quickly, but
they
you can move
said
on.
that once she hit that girl in the head with the baton, she did not stop to check on her.
Right.
And I think
if it was an accident,
I think that says so much right there that you kept running and left her behind.
Yeah,
no.
and
they didn't reach out and apologize right after. Like, no.
And then in her interview, she was kind of blaming the girl, like she got too close and she was in my lane and stuff. It was a cacophony of horrible behavior. But Gavin's right. If you own it, like I can forgive that. Like look, if you've ever played competitive sports, it's really easy to get that cheap shot in when you're frustrated. Like you might have a beef with somebody, or they've been checking you all game, and then you get a chance and you get that cheap shot. I cross-checked a guy playing hockey one time because he had been playing and he and I had been going at it, and he had his back to me, and I cross-checked him, and he almost killed me because he got so mad. But it was like in that moment, it was just like, gah! And so you got to own that, you know? And I think that the people around her are doing her a disservice by not. I hope they do an investigation, and I hope there is some sort of a penalty, because you can't get away with that kind of stuff. It's crazy. Yeah. Lady Rock, what do you got?
There is a new location, a new McDonald's location. It was an old location, then they tore it all down, and they built a new location, and it's over in Franklin, Tennessee, not that far from us at all.
We should go.
But there's a photo inside of the play area, and it is going viral, and that's because it's a photo of two chairs, and they are facing two tablets that have been put into the wall, and it's meant for the kids. Instead of having like a play area, a jungle gym type thing like they typically do in locations like this, it's two tablets. Okay. And so
they still have the jungle gym area, right?
I looked into it. They have like a couple of things that kids can play on, but they don't have the jungle gym anymore.
Really?
And I think the reason for that is it's really hard to clean.
Yeah.
And employees don't want to get in there and clean, which I do understand to some degree. But the reason that this photo is going viral is because it's a lot of parents are saying, well, this is depressing. This is ruining my day.
We want kids to go out and play.
Right. And instead they're just staring at a screen. But honestly, we've gotten into a society where lawsuits happen all the time. And so McDonald's, I think, is kind of doing this to save their own butt in that, well, if your kid gets hurt or something like that, we don't want to be sued, and we can't keep it 100% safe and clean.
Right.
And especially if we have another pandemic, like they don't want to be blamed for anything. And so they put these two tablets into the wall, and the expectation has also changed as well. And I've seen this before. Now, given I can't say much because I'm not a parent, but I've been in situations where I have seen parents let their kids run amok. And
sure.
They do not watch them. They expect society to watch them.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've also gotten into that situation where these overworked McDonald's employees are expected to watch the kids and let the family eat, but that's not the case.
I think it's
shouldn't be the
case. It's
case.
the sad commentary on it because we're like, okay, we got to break kids of screen time, and so the idea is the play place. You go get your energy out, you play, you use your mind, and then this is just a reminder of, oh no, this is what playing is now for a lot of kids,
right.
And I think that's why people would be upset about it. But you're right, the litigious nature of this. I'm surprised we have any play places. I mean, when my daughter was 3 and that kid kicked her in the face, I came unglued.
Yeah.
Like I was headed to that kid.
Yeah.
And I was going to regulate that, you know. So like I get it.
But there's a lot of Chick-fil-A's that have a play area.
Yeah.
Like I know the 2 closest locations to us, they both have one. But there are times where I've walked in with some friends of mine that have kids. And we went to that location specifically because they wanted their kids to play in the play place, and they had it closed.
I think you could have a play place that is, if you're worried about getting sued and having the big towers you're climbing up, like I get that, but have something that's still tactile and that you have to use your brain for and your mind for, that maybe you don't climb on it, but it's a wall where you adjust things and, you know, you move pieces around and stuff, more so than just an iPad.
And they had those things. They had one thing that looked like a big stick coming out of the floor, and when you step on it, I think I would have to be there to understand what it is, but you put your feet on the floor, and somehow when you jump, it like the lights go up or down or something. Like that's a good idea.
Yeah, like how high you're jumping.
But I don't know if they still have the play place because they knocked it all down and started over. So they might just have a couple of little things that the kids could play on, and then 2 tablets in the corner.
We'll have to go out for a show outing when the McRib comes back, and so make it worth going.
Yeah, we should do that. It's for research.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I think we could write it off.
I totally think we could.
The funny thing is, we're going to find out like later on when someone does some digging, those 2 iPads are actually kiosks so that kids can apply for jobs. you know, like hiring like 8-year-olds
or order things off Amazon. You're like, oh my gosh.
Do you got any birthdays, Rock?
I do.
Let's go.
I have 2 birthdays.
Let's do this.
Demi. She works for the Carnival Cruise Line.
Oh, nice.
She said the cruise line I've been on 12 out of 13 times.
Oh, wow.
I'm only 15. Wow.
What? Wait,
what?
She said the cruise line I've been on 12 out of 13 times. I'm only 15. I guess she's wishing Carnival Cruise Line a happy birthday.
Oh.
I don't know. Fun fact about them, the first ship in their fleet, TSS Mardi Gras, crashed into a sandbar on their maiden voyage in Miami in 1972. That's terrible publicity.
Yeah, the Carnival had a horrible reputation. I grew up in Florida, and I remember when they started, and it was basically these 2-night cruises to the Bahamas, and they were total booze cruises. And so that was all it was. It was just a bunch of people partying. It was gross. But then they elevated their game to become one of the major players in cruising. And they've got these massive ships now, and they're fun. They're still they're one notch below like Royal Caribbean. Like Royal Caribbean is a really great cruise line. Disney's a notch above them. And they're on par with like Celebrity and some of the other higher end. But Royal's a great option. Carnival is too, but it's just it's a little bit down. But you know, I got Carnival stock.
Norwegian wasn't too bad. It was definitely not.
Norwegian's older.
Yeah, it's older,
people.
and it doesn't have. Yeah, you're right. Because like when you're there is not a lot of like night scene stuff.
Right.
It's like maybe a show, maybe some trivia, maybe some.
We're gonna have a comment, and we're gonna have a comedian tonight at 4:30. You know, so you can get to bed early.
Yeah,
it did feel like it was for older people.
It is.
But it's the only one I've ever been on.
I'd probably
Holland
fit
America.
better on that one.
You would love it. Holland America is another older one. The one that's the young hipster one is Virgin Atlantic Cruises. My daughter went on one and she liked it, but she was like, "Dad, you would hate this."
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. The food is pretentious and all froofy. Like it's a club scene kind of thing, and it's just it's and there's no kids. That's the nice thing. It's all young adults or adults. So that's kind of fun. But even on a Disney cruise, they keep the kids so busy. I go on those as an adult with no kids and enjoy it.
And you get dragged into the things the kids are doing.
Because of Marty.
And Marty's like, oh, thank goodness.
I know. Yeah, Marty just, oh my gosh.
My
him.
My wife's mom really wants to, because she treated the family to like a Disney vacation a few years ago, and her next thing is wanting to do Disney cruise.
Oh, let Marty book
which
it for her.
I would let Marty know.
Yeah, let her know because she can help you with that.
If she wants to do it, because
there's headaches with it, for
bet.
booking stuff, but she can do that for you.
I've heard great things, and you obviously love them.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. You'll drop some money on them. The only reason we go on them, because
Mickey always wants your money.
Oh, I know. With my wife being a travel agent, she gets like one cruise a year at this crazy deep discount, and that's why we go. Because I don't know that I would pay the full fare. I would have a hard time doing that because they're not cheap. But boy, when you're on them, they're great. Was that the only birthday?
I have a question
that's
that's from Natalie, but I'm going to let you choose which question we're going to do.
Okay.
Either Demi's or Natalie's. Do you want to answer a question about chickens or one about the state of Louisiana?
I mean, I can speak to Louisiana.
Okay, let's go Louisiana.
Okay. So Demi asked the question, I am a potty born and raised in Louisiana near New Orleans. Found WayFM when evacuating to Dallas for Hurricane Ida in 2021. What is your best Louisiana experience and what is your worst?
Oh, finding a wife there.
Oh, nice. Okay, I
mean,
didn't know that.
if you had to, technically, that's where I met Haley. So I'd say that. The worst is just the general, May to
the worst is New Orleans.
I've never been to New Orleans, and everyone I talk to that is from Louisiana says I don't really want to go to New Orleans. So I don't think I'll ever go. But really, summers there are pretty awful.
Yeah,
it is so hot. You're swimming, mowing a lawn in the summer. Awful.
Yeah. I remember going down and doing hurricane relief after Katrina there. I wanted to die. It was so hot and doing chainsaw crews and stuff. It was so bad. My wife's family on her mom's side is all from New Orleans, Metairie, all that area around there. And it's fun for a day. The French Quarter's kind of gross. You got to go to Cafe Du Monde and get a beignet. They're the best.
It's after that. Really?
We went to the aquarium. It's not that good. But we stayed right down on Canal Street because that's where her grandmother lived and wasn't moving. They tried to move her a million times because it got so bad. And I remember people running through the yard at night, knocking over trash cans and stuff. I'm like, how do you want to live like this? This is crazy, man. And so, I was not a fan of New Orleans. Oh, also, that's why I learned to get beat at poker too. Her family, I'm like, oh, they're playing poker. Oh, this would be fun. And then I learned her family plays for real money, and then they're cutthroat, and they didn't care that I was this young guy. Oh yeah, I was this young guy that barely had money to play, and then they took all my money, and without hesitation, they didn't even bat an eye. They're like, okay.
So both of y'all's wives are from Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't think I knew that. Until...
Well, Marty was born in Hawaii.
Yeah,
but her whole family her mom's side is all Louisiana.
Yeah,
her dad, her uncle was a cop there in homicide, and that was a mess.
Holy smokes!
Oh yeah, and one of her uncles was just a train wreck, but everyone loved him, and he was always in the big parades, and he had this one car that everybody knew from there. So yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I also have family that live in Louisiana. So every Christmas, every Mother's Day, whatever, we would travel to it. And it was about 10 hours.
Yeah.
And that was rough.
From Arkansas?
No, we were in Tennessee.
Oh, you were in Tennessee. Oh, okay, yes.
10 hours from Tennessee to
She didn't live
Louisiana.
in Arkansas very long, just a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
That's where I was born.
Okay.
And I lived there for 2 years.
Enough to get it on her.
Yeah.
But then they had to try and scrub it off.
And so we lived in Arkansas. Then we moved to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is really
I knew you
south.
lived there at one point.
Yeah.
It is. It's very different than where I lived, which was Shreveport, which is basically just Texas.
Yeah.
And so, but then we moved to Nashville when I was 4. But traveling there was rough.
It's bad.
It's just being in the back seat and you're just going, ugh, I don't even want to think about it. I would say the best thing, well, besides the fact that my mama's from there, is Duck Dynasty.
Oh, sure.
Is that from there too?
Yeah,
Dynasty.
they're
in Shreveport,
boys.
Louisiana. Yeah, it's so good. I love the show. Love Cy Robertson.
I never got into that. For whatever reason, it was huge, and they had They made millions of dollars.
I love it.
I'm curious.
It's like my family. I mean, it honestly reminds me of my family.
Yeah.
They hit a home run when they were popular. They hit the home run.
Yeah.
They didn't. They're
supposed to be coming back.
I know, and it lasted for a while too.
They capitalized on it.
Everyone, even the Sadie, Sadie
Robertson.
She grew out of that into her own little brand. It was a home run for them.
Yeah, she's out doing bunches of women's events now and stuff. So there you go. All right, well, we've got to do a meeting, and then we've got to do a movie and a lunch. So
and we are leaving here. Do you hear me?
I hear you.
Eye contact.
You know the movie starts at 2. We're not gonna.
We got plenty of time.
We actually do have a lot of time. We're not gonna eat for 2.5 hours.
Oh. Well, you're right.
Yeah, because we want to beat the traffic to Chewy's. I get it. But yeah, we're not going to be in a time crunch because we've also got select seating. So we could literally walk in there at 2 o'clock and be fine.
And if you want to see, Nicole Kidman.
I just want to spend more time at work because that's what I love. Mm-hmm. So
why are you the worst?
Betty wants to leave now.
I do.
I know.
All right.
Which I don't blame.
I have to go upstairs.
Honestly, if truth be told, Wally would want to leave right now too.
Yeah,
we all do.
Yeah, I like working from home.
You have your meeting with the digital guy
in
first.
3 minutes.
He's gonna work with your computer.
Let's get out of here.
Nuts. Okay, yeah, I gotta do that first. Okay, that's it. Thanks for being a potty.
Peace.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.